Okay, moving on to the second part of the short story. Perhaps I can best illustrate. So, in the first part, the author has expressed how people are not due to the senses that the God has gifted them, and what would have been her situation or position if she had sight and hearing. Perhaps I can best illustrate my imagining what I should most like to see if I was given the use of my eyes, say for just 3 days. So here she established the context of this short story. So since the author is blind now, she wishes that she wants sight for at least 3 days, and what she would do in those 3 days. And while I'm imagining, suppose you too set your mind to work on the problem of how to work on the problem of how you would use your own eyes if you had only 3 days to see. So this is the hypothetical situation that I gave it to you during the pre-reading activity. So the author also says the same. Imagine that you are blind now and you are given 3 days sight. What are you going to do in those 3 days? If with the oncoming darkness, if the third night you knew that the sun would never rise for you again, how do you spend those 3 intervening days? What would you most want to learn? Let your gaze rest upon. So here the author questions, what will you focus more on, or what would you like to see if you have sight only for 3 days? I naturally should want most to see the things which have become dear to me through my years of darkness. You too would want to let your eyes rest long on the things that have become dear to you so that you could take the memory of them with you into the night that loomed before you. So here the author says, just like anybody else, just like any normal human being, even that she is also interested, or she would also initially prefer to look at things or people or living other living creatures that were very near to her during her days of darkness. If by some miracle I were granted 3 seeing days to be followed by a relapse into darkness, I should divide the period into 3 parts. So this is what she says. I will divide it into 3 parts. Means 3 days. She also says it's a miracle by some miracle. So she also knows that it's not easy to get her sight back. But even then she says, if God, because of God's grace, if at all I get the sight, what is she going to do? On the first day, I should want to see the people whose kindness and gentleness and companionship have made my life worth living. First, I should like to gaze long upon the face of my dear teacher, Mrs. Anne Sullivan Massey, who came to me when I was a child and opened the outer world to me. I should want not merely to see the outline of her face so that I could cherish it in my memory, but to study the face and find in it the living evidence of the sympathetic tenderness and patience with which she accomplished the difficult task of my education. So, first day she intends to have a look at her teacher. So, in the pre-reading activity, you got to know because of a teacher. The parents took her to Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, and Alexander Graham Bell introduced this Helen Keller, a blind, half wild, blind, and deaf student, to Miss Anne Sullivan Massey. And this is Mrs. Anne Sullivan Massey transformed Helen Keller into a human being with all these competencies. So she feels the first day she wants to have a look at the teacher who helped her to develop. So all these days she just had a vague idea regarding how a teacher touching her face. Now she literally wants to view how compassion looks like, because her teacher was an epitome of compassion for her. I should like to see in her eyes that strength of character which has enabled her to stand firm in the face of difficulties, and that compassion for all humanity which she has revealed to me so often. So she also says, I should like to see in her eyes the strength of character which has enabled her to stand firm in the face of difficulties, and that compassion for all humanity which she has revealed to me so on. So all these days, this Helen Keller just experienced this compassion and the strong courage of this of a teacher. Now she wants to look how this compassion looks like and how this courage looks like. I do not know what it is to see into the heart of a friend through the window of the soul, the eye. So she says, all these days she used to just touch and get to know about her friends. Now she wants to see her friends through the window of the soul, that is, eyes. I can only see through my fingertips the outline of a face. I can detect laughter, sorrow, and many other obvious emotions. I know my friends from the feel of their faces, but I cannot really picture their personalities, of course, through the thoughts they express to me, through whatever of their actions are revealed to me. But I am denied that deeper understanding of them, which I'm sure would come through sight of them, through watching the reactions to various expressed and circumstances, through noting the immediate and fleeting reactions of their eyes and countenance. So again, she keeps repeating that she got to know about her friends. All this is only through touch. Now she wants to literally look at them so that she will get a clear picture of her friends. Friends who are near to me, I know well because through the months and years they reveal themselves to me in all their phases. But of casual friends, I have only an incomplete impression, an impression gained from hand clasp, from spoken words which I take from their lips with my fingertips, or which they tap into the palm of my hand. She says when it comes to close friends, she doesn't have any difficulty in identifying their true nature or to get to know the truthness of their friendship, because those close friends have spent sufficient time along with her. But when it comes to casual friends, so she has a vague idea about them. So but when she looks at those casual friends through her eyes, she will have a better idea about those casual friends. She says how much easier, how much more satisfying it is for you who can see to grasp quickly the essential qualities of another person by watching the subtleties of expression, the quiver of a muzzle, the flutter of a hand. But does it ever occur to you to use your sight to see the inner nature of a friend or acquaintance? Do not most of you seeing people grasp casually the outward features of a face and let it go at that? So here she questions, she mentions that people with sight are very much fortunate, because these people with sight can have a general understanding of other people when they directly look at them. And she also poses a counter question saying that, don't you think that people with sight will neglect all these minute mannerisms, minute body language, minute expressions of the other person, and get the sufficient information? So again, she's trying to say that people with sight use their senses to a very less extent. For instance, can you describe accurately the faces of five good friends? Some of you can, but may not. As an experiment, I've questioned husbands of long standing about the color of their wives' eyes. And often they express embarrassed confusion and admit that they so not know. And incidentally, it is a chronic complaint of wives that their husbands do not notice new dresses, new hats, and changes in the household garments. So she even conducted a kind of social experiment where she asked individual to describe a person's best friends, five who are five in number, or five best friends, but most of them failed. So another experiment that she did was she asked, here you have to understand the inherent meaning when she says long standing. Question husbands of long standing about the color of the garments. Long standing means especially in European countries, marriage as institution is not that strong, so they keep on changing partners. Here she's saying, I checked with those who had stayed with their wife for longer time about the color of their wife's eyes, but many were not in a position to answer. It's a chronic complaint, and even she has heard many wives complaining that the husbands do not notice their new dresses or any change in them. So she is trying to convey question of what use it is for people with sight, with the eye, when you're not able to appreciate all these things. The eyes of seeing persons soon become accustomed to the routine of their surroundings, and they actually see only the startling and spectacular. But even in viewing the most spectacular sights, the eyes are lazy. Court records reveal every day how inaccurately eyewitnesses see. A given event will be seen in several different ways by as many witnesses. Some see more than others, but few see everything that is within the range of their vision. So here she says, the eyes of the normal person is accustomed to the daily everyday activities, and accustomed to only something that is spectacular and very important. And she even cites the examples of the court proceedings, the role of eyewitnesses there. She says how eyewitnesses are being misused, and even how eyewitnesses can misinterpret and other things, because she feels that a person, if 10 people see one incident, you may have 10 different descriptions. For example, how do you describe a glass bottle which is filled with water up to 50%. Will you call it as half full or half empty? So if you ask three different people, the one person will say it's half filled with water. The other person will say it's completely filled, because he says half of the portion is filled with water, the remaining half is filled with gas or air. And the third person says it's half filled with air. So all the three are true. So how will you determine who has given the appropriate eyewitness? So even questions about that. Oh, the things that I should see if I had the power of sight for just 3 days. The first day would be a busy one. I should call to me, I should call to me all my dear friends and look long into their faces, imprinting upon my mind the outward evidence of the beauty that is within them. I should let my eyes rest too on the face of a baby so that I could catch a vision of the eager, innocent beauty which precedes the individual's consciousness of the conflicts which life develops. So first day she wants to, after having a meeting her teacher, she wants to meet her closest friends, and after meeting them she wants to have a look at the innocent face of the baby, because she feels that baby is the only innocent human being, because it will not have any prejudices based on the color, race, gender, or any aspects, because she wants to see how innocence looks like. And I should like to look into the loyal, trusting eyes of my dogs, the grave, canny little Scotty, Darky, and the stalwart, understanding Great Dane, Helga, whose warm, tender, and playful friendships are so comforting to me. So after meeting a friend, she wants to have a look at the face of the baby. Then she wants to have a look at her dogs. On that busy first day, I should also view the small, simple things of my home. I want to see the warm colors in the rugs under my feet, the pictures on the walls, the intimate trifles that transform a house into a home. My eyes would rest respectfully on the books in raised type, which I read, but they would be more eagerly interested in the printed books which seeing people can read. For during the long night of my life, the books I have read and those which have been read to me have built themselves into a guiding lighthouse, revealing to me the deepest channels of human life and human spirit. So she says, after that, if she wants to focus on the minute aspects of her everyday activities, that is, she wants to have a look at the color of her bed sheet, okay, and the inner interior of her house, and she wants to physically read the books, because all these days other people read it for her, especially her teacher read it for her, and because of those books she enhanced her personality and she wants to literally read it. She even says, uh, this is very important, the books I have read and those which have been read to me have built themselves into a great shining lighthouse, revealing to me the deepest channels of human life and the human spirit. She says it has given her the best experience. In the afternoon of that first seeing day, I should take a long walk in the. So all these days, all these what all she mentioned now, she will be doing it before noon only. That is meeting a teacher, then meeting her friends, meeting the baby, meeting her dogs, having a look at her surroundings, other aspects. She completes it in first half of the day. Then in the second half, this is the following that she intends to do. In the afternoon of the first seeing day, I should take a long walk in the woods and intoxicate my eyes on the beauties of the world of nature, trying desperately to absorb in a few hours the vast splendor which is constantly unfolding itself to those who can see. On the way home from my woodland, jaunt my path would lie near a farm so that I might see the patient horses plowing in the field. Perhaps I should see only a tractor and the serene content of men living close to the soil, and I should pray for the glory of a colorful sunset. So she says, post lunch, she intends to go to the wood or the forest where she wants to enjoy the beauty of nature. And while she's coming back, she feels that she will have a look at the horses and how they are grazing and how farmers are spending their time on the field. When dusk had fallen, so she at that time she wants to see the sunset in the very first day. First day she wants to see the sunset. You should be very cautious because they may ask MCQ questions. What did she see in the first day, sunset or sunrise? It is sunset. When dusk had fallen, I should experience the double delight of being able to see by artificial light, which the genius of man has created to extend the power of his sight when nature decrees darkness. So, not only she wants to appreciate the beauty of nature during daytime, she also wants to appreciate the beauty of man's invention, that is electricity, at night. In the night of that first day of sight, I should not be able to sleep. So full would be my mind of the memories of the day. So she only hypothetically says, or she only considers that on the first day of that sight that she gets, she will not be in a position to sleep that night because she will be haunted by the memories of what all she saw since morning. Okay, so all these factual aspects, you should be very much cautious. You should extract what all did she try to do in the first day. So because most of the questions will be asked from these factual aspects itself.